There we go.
Hey, everybody.
Hey!
Rachel's putting on last minute lip gloss as I was hitting live. She's like, no.
All good. Happy Tuesday, y'all. Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday. It is our regular Tuesday live stream. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We love hanging out with you every single Tuesday to talk about virtual assistants. We believe that virtual assistants is a game changer. I know it was for me. It was for Rachel. Absolutely changed our lives. And so that's why we're so passionate about sharing how you guys can have the freedom life too by starting a virtual assistant business. And so we talk about all the things here. We talk about launching a business. We talk about the struggles with figuring out your services and your rates and finding clients. We talk about growing the business, how to market it. We talk about scaling, how to get a team, and how to be the CEO of your own business and life. And so we love having you guys join us every single week for these live streams. Rachel, did you do anything fun this weekend?
No. Well, nothing fun, just like family life. We transitioned my oldest son into his own room. So
Ooh.
set him up and organized him and over the moon. So that's what we did this weekend.
My kids have shared a room for years and years, and we just separated about a month ago, and we're still like putting the finishing touches. So we did like a big curtain thing over my daughter's bed and like like one of those canopies. And so every night what she's been we let her read like a chapter or two of a book every night. And so she's been like cocooning herself inside this tent. It's so cute. She loves it.
Fun.
Awesome. So we're going to be talking today about, do I have what it takes to be a virtual assistant? And I think that this is one of the most common questions that even if we're not asking it out loud, that we're internally asking ourselves when we're starting a VA business is, do I really have what it takes to do this, right? And so I really love this question. We're going to dive into this topic and really not just our own experience, not just my experience with starting a VA business, not just Rachel's experience, but guys, we've led over 5,000 students through our programs to start their own businesses as well. And so we see time and time again that this is one of those internal of is, do I have what it takes to be a virtual assistant? So if you're joining us for maybe the first time or the first time in a long time, hi, I'm Abby. I'm the CEO and founder of the Virtual Savvy. I started this business back in 2015, serving other people as a virtual assistant myself. And then I went on in 2016 to create what is now called the Savvy System, which is our program that launches 2 times a year that helps train other people to start their own virtual assistant businesses as well. And this is my sidekick, Rachel, ever introduce yourself to everybody?
My name is Rachel. I currently hold the position as VP of Product here at the Virtual Savvy. I was not far behind Abby launching her signature course. I purchased the course myself in 2017, launched, grew, and scaled my own virtual assistant business, joined the team here at TBS in 2018, and now I get to walk alongside of all of our amazing students and our audience here and watch you guys grow and flourish in creating your own freedom life.
Yes. So I want to know in the comments, how many of you guys like, I have already started my business. I have not started. Okay. I've not started yet. I've already started, or I've started and I have like paying clients already. 1, 2, or 3. I have not started yet. I've started, but still looking for my first paying client, or 3, I have started and I have my first paying client already. I would love to hear in the comments from you guys. So what we're going to do is we're going to chat about, do I have what it takes to be a virtual assistant? Again, that internal question that we all ask. And before we do that though, I do want to remind you that if you haven't already signed up, next week, guys, it is here. We're doing a 3-day challenge to show you how you can replace your income with virtual assistants. We're going to be setting up your business in 3 days. So this is an action-packed challenge. We've never done it before. We're literally going to be helping you choose your rates, choose your services. Like, you will walk away. There's a workbook that goes with it, everything. Like, you're going to walk away with the tools that you need in order to actually get your business started. So excited for it. It's going to be great. I think we have almost 4,000 people signed up for the challenge already.
Yeah, it's going to be so much fun. You're going to want to be there. Like Abby said, it's jam-packed full of value for sure.
100%. Okay, let's do this. Let's just go ahead and dive in. I'm really excited for our training today. We're going to be talking about, do I have what it takes to be a virtual assistant? Is this a question that you feel like you struggled with when you were first getting started?
Well,
Rachel?
absolutely. And it's so cool. I'm reading your comments as you guys are posting through. So many of you are here today that haven't even started yet. So you're in that research phase of, is this for me? Is this an option? And I remember asking myself that question. I was a stay-at-home mom of two littles. I had never really been a business owner before, and not even on the online space. So absolutely, I asked myself, do I have what it takes?
Yeah, I think it's a very common question. And we, like you said, we have a mix. We have Brittany who has started,
Mhm.
Christine who has not started yet. Erica says, nope, not started yet. Cami, nope, not started yet. So we have a good mix. And then we have some of you guys who are already like, yes, I have started. Yes, I have started, and I have one paying client. So a good mix of people here, which I actually really like that on these live streams, because we're going to share things with you that have helped us in the journey, and things that we've seen help many of the students that we've guided through starting their own businesses. But especially for those of you who have already started, you've announced your business, or you've announced and you have a paying client, like feel free to chime in the chat, because it really helps to hear other people's stories and other people's journeys of like, oh, here's where I was doubting these things too, and here's here's what my clients hired for me, because I do think that that is a big thing that we struggle with. We'll get into it. Again, if you haven't joined the challenge yet, thevirtualsavvy.com/challenge is where you go to sign up. It's going to be a really, really amazing time together. It is next Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday from 12 to 1. Fridays will go a little longer. Fridays will be like 12 to 1:30 probably, but we'll be meeting every day, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at noon. So just make sure you carve off that time because it's going to be really, really good and action-packed. This could be the most important thing you do for your business this year. So make sure you've carved out the time to join. All right. So the number one question, Rachel, that we get when people do join the Savvy system, what is it?
Do I have the skills? Like, do I have something that somebody's going to pay for? Am I going to be successful at this? And it kind of varies on where you are in that question. Like, you could be asking, do I literally have the actual ability to do the thing? It could also be on the other end of the spectrum of, am I actually going to make this work? Because I've tried so many things and have done different things and I've failed. Do I have the skills to make this one work? Right? It could be anywhere on that spectrum, but we see it over and over and over again of people questioning their ability on whether they will be successful at being a virtual assistant.
Yeah. Do I have what it takes? Do I have what it takes to do I have skills that are actually marketable? Like, is anybody, am I going to want what I'm selling? Right.
For sure.
Are there business owners who really need the things that I offer? Cause maybe I don't feel like I offer a whole lot, or, do I have the skills to market this? Like maybe I'm naturally more of an introvert and I'm not sure, like, I think I could be behind the desk working on people's business, but like the idea of marketing really scares me. And so how am I going to get out there? So I think do I have the skills is a really big question that we're going to tackle today. Now, one of the things that's going to help you along this journey is having your goal really, really front and center. We're here. It's a new year, right? New year, new goals. I know every one of us, it's such a time of momentum. I love January because it's just this, to me, clean slate, fresh start, new momentum, new vision is just a really exciting time of year, I think. And so one of the things that we talked about last week was about setting your BHAG, which is your big, hairy, audacious goal. And I would love to know in the chat if you were here with us last week, or maybe you weren't, but you still have like a big goal for this year. What is that? And one of the things we talked about was how important it is for it to be this flip the switch goal, like, when it happens. So like an ambiguous goal that's like, I want to spend more time with my kids. That's a great goal. How do you know when that happens? Whereas like, I want to be able to take off for every like field trip that my kid has. Okay, that first field trip that you don't work and you go and you don't have to ask a boss for it, like flip the switch, it happened. Or I want to pay off all my student debt, flip the switch, it happened. What are some others, Rachel, that we saw as people are putting theirs in the chat?
Paying off a specific amount of debt, or school loans, or paying for a vacation, or quitting 9 to 5. Like all of those are very much flip that switch. And I love seeing the comments starting to come through. I read an article the other day, Abby, and it was super inspiring. And the thing that I took away from it was it was an article of very successful entrepreneurs posting their one piece of advice for 2023. And the one that I took away with it or from it was a guy said, dream the big dream, but it didn't stop there. He said, once you've dreamed that big dream, then you have to break it apart and figure out the very next step.
Yeah.
So often we dream that big dream. Okay, let's just use quitting my 9 to 5, right? I see that big goal, but then as I think about it and I start to play it out in my mind, it starts to get scary and I can't figure out what to do. I don't know what the next steps are. So I stop dreaming that dream and then I just go back to my 9 to 5. But if we say, that's what I want to do, I want to quit my 9 to 5, I want to pay off that debt. What's the very first thing that I need to do? And identify that small step. That small step is going to build our momentum, right, to be able to reach it. So let's name that big, hairy, audacious goal, and then let's go after what's the first step to make it towards that goal.
I think, a big, hairy, audacious goal, guys, it should scare you a little bit. Like some of the things I'm seeing in here is going full time with my business. I want to complete my master's degree and start my VA business. I want to have 4 clients by February and pay off student loans. I want to start making $5K a month working from anywhere. Oh my gosh, these are so good. They just keep coming in. I want a really nice house, get funds down for a down payment. Like all the things you guys are saying, like the path to get there, let's be honest, like it's kind of scary, right? Like putting your hands up, like doing so, like you're going against the grain. Like most people will do a Groundhog's Day and literally just relive the year that they had last year. They'll show up to the same 9 to 5. They'll still have the same complaints that they've always had. Like most people aren't willing to go and do the things that you guys are saying, freaking, I'm going to change this. I'm going to do something different. And it's scary, right? But here's the thing is that, like, just like Rachel was saying, that big, hairy, audacious goal might be scary. I want to pay off all my debt by the end of the year. I want to have a down payment for a house. Like, okay, so you're saying I'm going to have, how many thousands of dollars inside of an account by the end of this year? Oh, that's scary, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to get clients. That means you're going to have to market all the things. Okay, but here's the thing is that you don't have to have courage to do all those things right now. Like you don't have to have courage to quit your job right now. You have to have courage for the first step, just like Rachel said. And so the first step in starting your business may be, I want to choose my services. I want to choose a name for my business, right? Like that small step. So do you have the courage to quit your job right now? No, probably not. And you probably shouldn't, right? Like if you don't have the income to like back it up, but like, do you have the courage to choose a business name? Like you only have to have courage for the very next step, right? And so I think that's why what you said, Rachel, breaking it apart is so important, because if you can get courage for the next step, it's like once you like, maybe you're too scared to market your business. Maybe the thought of marketing your business. I saw somebody say this earlier, right? They said, I'm too introverted to get out there. There's scams, all of these things that are super scary, right? But like if you were to choose your business name, have your services, and you feel really good about them, have a rate. In your head, if you go to like a local network event and someone says, hey, send me information about your business, like, or you get on a discovery call and someone says, hey, yes, I want to work with you. And you know what happens next. Boom, boom, boom. You have all your systems set up. Like that, if you had courage to put each one of those things in step and now you're ready, now you can have the courage because you have all that foundation, right? And so you only like that courage it's kind of a snowball effect. Like the more you do, the bigger the snowball, like your courage grows and grows and grows and grows as it's like going down the hill and picking up more and more snow. So yes. So good. Oh my gosh, these are so good. 7K months, pay off all my debt. Hire someone to clean my house. Literally, like that was my very first goal. Like I literally started my business because like part of it was like I was a stay-at-home mom. I was nannying, but like I'm a stay-at-home mom, pregnant, and I'm like, I hate cleaning my house. I lived in a basement apartment with one window, and my first goal was to like hire somebody to come clean my house to help me in that area. Like I want someone like I think twice a month to come and do a deep clean of my house because I hate cleaning. I've got this huge pregnant belly, and that was my very first goal. And it was so funny because once it happened, I'd be like, yeah, I live in the basement of someone else's house. So it's like, they're probably like, who is this person hiring someone to clean their house for a basement with one window? I'm like, Yeah, that's me because priorities, right? I just really hate planning.
One of my goals, Abby, was to purchase my gym membership without feeling guilty, right? Like that's an extra expense that was added into our budget, and I wanted to fully fund it and not have to worry about it. And I loved being able to do that. Another one of my goals was to help my husband pay off his student debt. And I think somebody mentioned something about that as saving money. Like we did that every single month from my business.
Yeah.
This much of my personal take home was going to go towards this. And when we were able to flip that switch and say it's paid off, like, so amazing.
I literally just got chills. Okay. Do I have what it takes? Right. So you have that big, scary, audacious goal, and that should be the momentum that keeps you going. But the reality is that once it's like, all right, rubber meets the road, it's time to start taking action. Sometimes we go, and we stop because fear starts to take control, and we start asking that question, do I actually have what it takes? So we've got 3 things to talk about today. The first one, and this is like, it's soapbox time. I feel like it's soapbox Rachel time. You have what it takes because you are you. Rachel, tell us what that means.
Oh, this one's so good. Like, okay, y'all. Let's be real. I can get on a soapbox. I'm not as good on a soapbox as Abby is, but this is something that you've probably already experienced and had to work through yourself at some point in time in your life, is accepting your value and the worth that you bring to the world, right? Like we all have something unique about us, unique gift, unique talent, unique ability that we bring forward. Right. And we have to accept that and embrace that so that we can share that. And this is something that you're naturally going to come up against no matter what inside of your business, whether you are successful or whether it's a little bit more of a struggle for you. It's always going to come up. But if you can accept that I have gifts, talents, and abilities to offer the world at the very beginning, when that battle comes up against you throughout your journey, you're going to be able to more easily fight against it and speak truth against it. You have to accept the fact that you are worthy and that you have things to offer the world, whatever that looks like. And we can get into the nitty-gritty of specific skills and gifts, talents, and abilities, but you have to accept that you were knit together with a distinct purpose, distinct gifts, talents, and abilities to offer the world.
One of the most transformative things I ever did, if you have, maybe you've got some, some Christmas money or whatever, like, I spent $30 on a book called Strength Finders. And I think there's probably like tests that you can take online that are free that are similar if you like Google Strength Finders test. But for me, it really helped me to just see myself more fully. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like when I graduated high school, I like had no idea who I was or what, like none of us said, what am I doing? What do I am? Who I am in this world. And I feel like throughout my 20s, like my mid 20s, I was like, oh, like, this is who I am. Like I became really, really good at being like, this is what I'm good at and this is what I'm not good at, and like discovering those things. And then like the last, however many years, I won't tell you because, you don't need to know that. No, I'm just kidding. The last 15 or 20 years since that point, since my mid 20s, have been this like this realization of like, this is who I am and I am freaking proud of it, and I like it. I like that person. And which means that it's the whole person. It means that the things that I'm good at, like I can recognize I'm good at these things. Like my top 5 strengths, we were talking about Strength Finders, are communication and woo, which is winning others over, and strategy. Like I'm really good at strategy. Futuristic is actually my very top strength. Like I'm just a future oriented person. And so all of these things combine to make me who I am. And are there things that are lower on the list? Yes, like there are things that I'm really not good at. And that's okay because my weaknesses aren't weaknesses. They're an opportunity for somebody else's strength. And even as you build your business, there's things you're going to have to do that are going to be harder because it's maybe not your strength, but that's okay. You work at it, you find tools, you find resources, you dig into a program or you dig into a resource that's going to teach you how to do the thing that's maybe not your strength. I'm not good at finances, right? So I'm going to use, like, I'm just not a math person. I never did great at math in high school. And so like I would use programs to help me with with that. I would use Wave apps for accounting, right? Or I would use a program like Dubsado, or I would use a program like QuickBooks to keep track of finances, right? And eventually, as soon as I made enough money in my business, bam, that was one of the very first things I hired out was bookkeeping, because I was like, I don't like this, you know? And so it's okay that you're not good at everything, right? But you are unique, and the talent that you have can be used. Some of you guys are more technically oriented, right? Like you're like, just get me in and I want to dig behind a website, right? Like you can figure things out technically as far as like software on the computer goes. Some of you guys are more administrative. Some of you guys are like, oh no, like I'm not gonna build a website. That's crazy. But like I can organize somebody's inbox. Like that feeds my soul to organize an inbox. Or like, you know, I could do like travel research. I could book people's travel for them. I can dig in, I can do administrative tasks, right? Like I can organize things. I could set up somebody's ClickUp. Some of you guys are more creative. You're like, oh my gosh, like let me create a social media brand for somebody, right? Like I feel like most of us have like these different knacks that we're a little bit more lean into, and that's awesome. And that's what makes you who you are. And so it's okay as you start your VA business to lean into those things, right? Like, you know, I'm more creative, so I'm going to lean into the more creative. I'm more technical. I'm going to lean into more technical services as we grow. And we're going to be going over all of this in the challenge, like how to actually figure out. There's actually 5 virtual assistant personality types. We're going to go into all of them. It's going to be really, really good. But just know, like, you are unique, and that is what's going to make your business awesome. That's what's going to make your business the exact right fit for somebody else, right? Because if you're more administrative and somebody else is more like, whoo, I'm like visionary up in the clouds, man, do they need somebody to come in and help them get organized, right? And so you get to use your strengths to fill in for somebody else's weakness, and that's a beautiful, beautiful thing.
So good. And 2 things that I pulled out from what you were saying, Abby. One is just accepting who you are, the good and the bad, right? Or what we view as the bad, because there's so much opportunity even in those weaknesses. And you may be thinking, well, I haven't had experience doing that. I've only been doing this. I'm just this, right? Like those experiences and those opportunities that you've had in your life make you who you are. And so out of all of those experiences and opportunities that you have, there are skills that you've practiced that can be applied to skills and things that you can do for actual paying clients. And when you dig deeper into that and you see it, it opens up the opportunities that are available to you in such a brighter light.
Yeah. Yeah, we get that all the time. People like, I'll sit down, like we've done like local meetups. We're going to start doing those again this year, which I'm super excited for. And I'll sit down with somebody who's thinking about starting a VA business. They're like, yeah, like I'm just a teacher, or I'm just a big teller, or I'm just this. And Rachel, are you freaking kidding me? Like, do you know the skills that you have? Like the transferable skills you have are so real. So very, very good. Let's keep going, because we could talk on this all day. Number 2, this, oh my gosh, this is so important, not just with virtual assistants, but with anything in life, is give yourself permission to be a beginner. Like, and there's something in us. I know for me, it's my perfectionist tendencies, is that it's really hard for me to allow myself to be a beginner in things. There's something in my head that like expects me to be really good at things like the very first time I try it. And in reality, I am not good at most things the very first time I try them. Like I am just not a naturally, like my husband and I have gotten really into pickleball lately. And it's like, I am very bad.
You too? Oh my goodness. Everybody's getting into pickleball.
I know. Yes. No, we're totally into it. We did like this scrimmage the other day. It's like literally, I went and did a competition. I had only played pickleball 3 times in my life, and I joined like a tournament. And you know what? There were 16 people, and guess who got very last place? Me. We had so much fun, and I learned. And next time I'll be better. You know, like I'm gonna do a drills and skills class this weekend, and like I'm gonna get better at it because I'm a beginner, right? Like, and why would I expect myself to be good at something that I've never done before, right? And so it's okay to allow yourself to be a beginner. And what am I doing? I'm a beginner in pickleball, so I'm going to the classes. I'm putting myself out there enough to look stupid so that I can get better, right? Like that's just, it's part of it. And so giving yourself that permission that, let me, like, the only person putting pressure on myself to be great at this is me. Like nobody else cares. They really don't. Like it's that release of allowing yourself to be a beginner, right?
And clients will even hire beginners. I mean, if I can tell my own story, like my first client that pivoted my business to a higher level service was one who was willing to give me a chance because I had the willingness to try. It wasn't because I was coming to the table with this much experience and knew all the platforms and all the things. It was because I had the willingness to step forward and to try. And she was willing to give me a chance. Clients will even hire beginners if you present yourself as willingness. We're going to talk about that in a minute too, of being willing to figure it out. And but you embracing that and accepting the fact that I am a beginner and I'm going to dig in and I'm going to figure this out actually puts you far above others for sure.
100%. I think sometimes we get in our heads like, oh, I have to have this. Like before I start getting clients, I need to know this. And, like, I have like the checklist of all the knowledge that I have to have. Can I tell you guys, like my very first clients, and I mean, for a long time, my client, until I positioned myself as an expert in something, I was just I was a general VA. Like, what do you need? I'll take it off your plate. I'll take it off your plate generally means that they're already doing something. They already have a system, and you're literally just going to do it for them, right? So, like the very first client I ever had, it was just a project base. It wasn't hourly reoccurring, but she was like, "Hey, I have like this big stack of business cards from all these networking events. I have a spreadsheet I've been entering into manually and they're taking me a bunch of time. Like, could you do that for me?" It's like I literally just took over a process that she already had. Another was a State Farm agent, right? And I was making customer service, like I was appointment reminders. Like I was just calling his clients and he had a script, he had the thing. He's like, "Could you just do this for me?" Right? And so a lot of times, like in fact, I'd say when you're a general VA beginner, and especially somebody who's hiring a VA for the first time, most of them aren't coming in being like, "Oh man, can you form a whole social media strategy for me? Can you do this and this and this and this?" And wanting you to create something from scratch. Most of the time, you're just taking things off their plate they're already doing. So you don't even have to know everything. You just have to fill into the systems that they already have, right? And then because you are unique and because you have your gifts and your talents, over time you can eventually make those better and make improvements and all those things. But like I think this idea that like I have to know all this stuff ahead of time is just, it's a false belief. Like that's just not actually true.
So good. So good. Be willing to accept the fact that you're a beginner and step out and embracing that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Love that.
You guys ready for number 3? Put number 3 in the comments. I need more interaction in the comments. Let's go. All right. And this one's so good. We wrote these slides like a couple weeks ago, and now we're coming back to it and be like, oh, come on. So good. It'll preach. Okay. So number 3, this one is huge for me as well, is to turn off the distraction of others. Your journey is your journey. It will go at the pace that it needs to go. You will progress as you need to progress. And the distraction of others, whether they started before you, whether they started at the same time, whether they started after you, it doesn't matter, right? I told you my husband and I are playing pickleball together. Guess what? That tournament, I had played 3 times. He had played 5 times. Okay. So he had went to 2 things that I hadn't gone to. Out of 16 people, I got 16th and he got 4th. How did you do that? Right. But whatever, like that's his journey. That's great. I was very excited for him. I really was. And it's just like, you know what? Like I'm doing this for fun and my journey is my journey. And like, I'm going to progress at a different rate as somebody else. And the reality is that he had put in more hours, right? So like, if you're doing this and you have kids and you have a full-time job and you have like other commitments going on and you are working your butt off to commit 5 hours a week to do this, please don't go and compare to yourself to somebody who's doing this full time. Like that's not fair to yourself to put that pressure on yourself to be like, I have to succeed at the same rate as somebody else. Like you don't know their life. They don't know your life. It's fine. Right?
That's so good. I think too, I'm going to go for a different angle, is that it's so easy, and we see this time and time again from students when they come into our courses, is that they get distracted by what they think they need to be or what they think they need to offer, right? So they're running after, I need to be a website designer, or I need to be specialized in brand, or I need to do XYZ, right? Fill in the blank. But that's not your journey. That's not your path. Like look at who you are accepting you because you are you, accepting the fact that you may be a beginner, and focus on your gifts, talents, and abilities, and what does that look like, and what can you offer. Now, it's super fun, and I also think important to walk along this journey with other people that understand and can empathize with the journey. But in that same breath, it's really easy to get distracted or jump into the comparison game by what they're doing. But you have to, we always say inside of the Savvy system, you have to keep your blinders on and focus on what you are doing. What's the next step inside of your journey so that you stay focused towards that big, hairy, audacious goal.
So good. One of our viewers said, totally, I was able to get clients very easily. Offering social media management was a favorite thing I enjoyed as much. And sometimes we can see like services that other people are offering, or we see it on a list somewhere. We see it and we're like, oh yeah, I guess that's what I need to do that as a VA. But number one, if you don't like doing that, don't.
Oh,
Don't. Or maybe you think you'll like it and you get into it and you decide that you don't. I mentioned those appointment setting phone calls. Like I had an almost 2-year-old at home, and I was pregnant, and then I actually like gave birth while I was like starting my business. I literally like I actually had my second child 4 weeks early, so it was unexpected. I had prepped my clients like, hey, this is the date, and it's like, nope, 4 weeks earlier than that. Actually, I'm in the I was induced, so I had time, but I'm like typing each of my clients. I'm so sorry to let you know that I will be out for, whatever amount of time. Came a little earlier than I expected. And I was like, where was I going with that?
okay, keep going.
So then I had a newborn and a 2-year-old. Those appointments and phone calls with a crying baby in the background, I was like, I'm not going to do this anymore. And so I let my client know, hey, this is no longer a service I'm going to be offering. And we replaced it with something else, right? So like, it's okay to change your mind over time too.
I think, that's a really good point. Goes back to number one, like accepting who you are, okay? Accepting you because you are you. And so often when it gets to that point where we have to make that decision, I don't like doing these calls. For me, it was social media images. I don't like doing this. I don't find joy in this. Accepting that, and don't make it difficult in communicating it to the client. You just have to have that conversation with the client. And more times than not, the client is going to work with you and you can figure it out. And if not, then you move on and find the next client, right? We so often make it more difficult than it needs to be.
Yeah. I will tell you one thing that's like, even those kind of conversations when I first, like if even talking about how those kinds of conversations make you a little nervous, like I am non-confrontational. I am just I don't like hard conversations. I'm just not naturally good at like, we have to have like in my head, a tough conversation, even though it might not be that tough. Like I get in my head a lot about those kinds of conversations. And I will tell you that like one of the biggest things after being in business for what is it, like 7 years now is I guess 8 years, going on 8 years. I'm such a tougher person than I used to be. Like I have developed such thicker skin, and I'm so proud of that, right? Like it took me doing scary things over and over and over. It's like that muscle, right? Like you gotta do something hard, and it builds over time. And I will say that doing scary things is actually easier now than it used to be because I've just practiced it for so long, right? Like being an entrepreneur isn't easy, but man, you're gonna look back 7, 10 years from now and be like, dang, I'm a different person from when I started. And so it just know like it's okay if some of these things scare you, because the practice of doing scary things actually gets easier over time.
So good. Being willing to do the scary things when it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Such an opportunity for growth for yourself. 100%. So good.
All right, so we are, let's go over these real quick. We are, accepting I am who I am. I am not who I am not. And I do like I do have experience, I do have a background, I have transferable skills. We're going to talk about more of that in the challenge, but just accepting, man, I am a skilled and talented person is step number one. Number two is giving yourself permission to be a beginner. No, I shouldn't expect myself to be great at this and to have all the answers right in the beginning. I just have to have courage for the next step, right? And allowing myself to be in that beginner phase, and then we're turning off the distraction of the others. Your race is not somebody else's race, right? It's not a race at all. It's a journey, right? Man, this is a goal that I have, and my goal might look different. Might get there at a different pace. My services might look different than somebody else, and that is okay. I love this quote.
So good.
Oh my gosh, so good. Read it for us, Rachel.
It's a journey. No one is ahead of you or behind you. You are not more advanced or less enlightened. You are exactly where you need to be. It's not a contest. It's life. We are all teachers and we are all students.
I love this. And I found this so many times in my life and in my business. Like sometimes I'm the teacher and sometimes I'm the student. And that's a really, really good place to be. Even in your business, like you're going to find you do this for a year or two, people are going to start coming to you for advice on, how did you do this? How did whatever? And it's just a really cool cycle, I feel like.
So good. Oh, all right. Let's talk practicality.
Let's talk really practical. Okay, cool. We got a lot of the mindset out of the way. Let's talk really practically. Some of this is mindset still, because it's important. Like we can all the practical things we can teach you, and we're going to get into a lot of practical things in the challenge that we're doing coming up. But what do you really need? Well, the first thing that you need, this is just really basic, guys. You do have to have a computer and decently fast internet. Like I feel like we get that question enough that I need to put it in there because people are like, "Can I do this from my phone?" And I'm like, you could maybe. I don't think so. But this doesn't need to necessarily be something that deters you. I mean, we've literally had students say that they don't have the money for a computer, so they went to the library and they would go to the library and use the free computers to start the business. That's great, right? Like if you're that determined, I'm not going to let anything limit you, then that just becomes part of your story, which is a really cool part of people's story, by the way, is that you're that committed. So that's number one. Yes, you do have to have decently fast internet and a computer, or you're not going to be able to do very well as a virtual assistant. What's number two, Rachel?
An element of figure it outedness. And we kind of alluded to that earlier, right? Accepting the fact that you're a beginner and being willing to put yourself out there to figure it out. Most clients are going to come to you with things that they don't even know how to do, right? And you may not know how to do it. You just have to have the willingness to be able to go figure it out. And when you do, you will, I promise, impress their socks off, right? That you were able to go figure it out. For me in my story, that's what happened with that client, is that I didn't know all of the things. I didn't know what ClickFunnels was at the time, but I was willing to go figure it out. But I was honest. I was honest with myself. And I was honest with the client and said, hey, no, haven't used that platform before, but I'm willing to figure it out and I'm willing to go learn. And that's what was a pivotal moment for me as a business owner, as a virtual assistant, that I was willing to go figure it out.
Yeah, 100%. I don't think you're not, the reality is you're not gonna know it all. There's just people are gonna come to you, be like, oh, are you familiar with blank? And you're like, I've never even heard of that before, and it's like that deer in the headlights, oh no.
Right.
But it's okay. Oh, actually, I'm not familiar with that platform, but I'd love to spend a couple days researching it. And it's okay. It's okay to be honest. There's no way you could know every single platform or anything like that. So I think that that's where it's then what do you do with it, right? Are you the kind of person that if, you're really frustrated because your Gmail signature used to work and now it doesn't work? Are you the kind of person that you're like, okay, let me Google that. Let me YouTube that. Let me dive in and figure out how to fix it, right? Or you just throw up your hands and go, nope, I don't know how to do that, you know? Or
Yeah.
even asking people, like, some people, I'm a Googler, right? Like, I can find anything on the internet, right? Like, I am just like, I'm a master Googler and and that's that figure it outedness. And that's kind of the way I tend to that strength. My husband is a super connector, so he's really great at relationships and finding the people. So if he doesn't know something, he doesn't necessarily spend a ton of time researching it. He gets on the phone and he calls the people that do know it, right? And so, and again, it's just leaning into your strengths. So what does that figure it outedness look like to you? If you're really good at, like, it doesn't matter if you know the answer, it's, do you know how to figure out the answer? That is one of the top skills that you need to be a virtual assistant.
So good. And we talked about transferable skills earlier in the hour. I was a kindergarten teacher. And so looking at transferable skills and figure outedness, I had students of all types that would come and sit at my reading table. But what would work for this student to help her diagnose and learn how to read didn't necessarily work for Johnny, and didn't always work for Sammy, and didn't always work for Jenny, right? I had to figure out how to meet Jenny and Johnny and Sammy where they were. And I took a little bit of digging in and figuring out. And you're going to find that clients are going to be the same. So that's just a simple example of how being a teacher, although it wasn't exactly the same, it was a transferable skill of being able to figure out what's going to work for this client, i.e. Jenny, right, is not always going to work for this client, i.e. Johnny. Like, I'm going to have to figure out how I'm going to make that work with each client. And no matter what kind of career or experience or opportunities that you've had, there are transferable skills, even in that figure outedness, when you're looking at starting a virtual assistant business.
Yeah, 100%. So this is a really good question from Amy. If you don't know something, you offer to go research it. How do you approach the claim about paying for the time to figure it out? So I think that that is number one. Yes, I would charge for it. Like, not even a question. So one of the things that I usually suggest to people is, especially once you get to the point where you're doing your virtual assistant business full time, or whatever full time is for you, if it's 20 hours, whatever once you're like at your max client load, I really love the idea of setting aside personally an hour a week of like just personal development. And so I may not necessarily charge a client for that personal development time if it's already something that's in my schedule and it's a skill that I personally want to learn to like pass on to other clients, right? But I would say that's the rarity. Whereas, like, if a client is asking me to do something, or maybe it's like taking over a system that they have. Well, if they are okay, I use Google Docs to do this spreadsheet, blah 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 blah, and they're teaching you. They have like a video where they teach you how to do the spreadsheet, or a meeting where they're passing that over you. That training, yes, you're going to be you're going to be billing them for that time. In the same way, if it's something that they don't have a system, they don't have a training for, then what they would be doing is that they would be figuring that out themselves. So you're literally taking that time from them and putting it on your plate. And so I think it's just clear expectations and communication about it of like, okay, so if you're meeting on a weekly basis and they're like, here's what I want you to work on, blah, 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 blah. I want you to build out a ConvertKit sequence. Okay, awesome. Just so you know, like, I'm new to ConvertKit. So I'm going to put into our weekly hours an hour of research time to actually learn how to do this really, really well for you, because I want to do a good job and make sure I have the best system. Right. And so I think just communicating it like that and setting clear expectations. If you're at an hour mark and you're like, oh my gosh, I still don't know, communicate that to them. Hey, I've been digging into this an hour. Here's what I've learned so far. Boom, 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 boom. I really think that it would be best for me to take, one more hour to actually make sure I have the best system to continue building this out. I'm in a really good flow. Let's make sure we do this the right way, And so that's how I would communicate that. I don't know if you have anything different.
Yeah, no, that's really good. I think the biggest thing that, pulling from what you're saying, Abby, is like absolutely open, honest communication inside of that, whatever that looks like. And let's be honest, the client may not agree to those terms. and that's okay too. So if you really like working for this client and they're not willing to pay for you to go and do the research, flip your mindset of, oh, such a bummer, of no, embrace that, okay, I get to learn this so that I could do this again for somebody else and grow and learn as a VA, right? So you just kind of have to look at the opportunities and check your mindset inside of the process, and always, always, always have open communication with your clients along the way.
Yep, 100%. Yeah, it's no like you have to do this or you don't have to do this. You get to choose
Yeah.
how you're going to do it, and as long as you're communicating with your clients along the way, I think is the most important part.
Yeah.
Awesome, guys. Well, this has been so great. We're going to jump into a Q&A time. So if you have more questions, go ahead and put those into the comments. We'll spend about 10 minutes or so answering your questions. I love doing this. I love doing a Q&A time with you guys. And as we do that, I want to really, really highly recommend, if you haven't already, the virtualsavvy.com/challenge. It's a 3-day challenge. We're starting next week, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We're getting really practical. We are literally going to help you choose your rate, choose your services. We're going to help you with a marketing plan. Like, there is so much jam packed into these 3 days. You're absolutely going to love it. This could be literally the thing that changes the trajectory of your year. So carve out the time. If this is something you really want to do, let's take the time to commit to it. Come and join the challenge. It's free. Awesome. Let's jump in. Live Q&A time. What do we have here? Okay. Here we go. Oh, yay! Christina has signed up for the training. We are so excited to have you there. Okay, Angie has a question. I'm struggling with a business name. Do I have to have this right now before finding clients? Rachel, do you want to answer that one, or do you want me to dive in?
I'm going to give my answer, then I would love for you to push back or whatever. I'm going to answer no. Okay. No, you don't have to have the name of your business right away. But the caveat to that is, don't get too nitty gritty and caught up in the details. And what we're going to kind of work through in the challenge, this is not a fluffy challenge coming up, y'all. Like Abby said, we're going to get into some of the details and help you make decisions. But we don't want you to get caught up in the details. If you can choose a name quickly, even if, Angie, you're just using Snyder Virtual Assistants, right? Okay. And you go with that, you make those quick decisions, you're continuing the momentum, you're breathing life into it and making it real. Don't get caught up in the details. Do you absolutely have to have a name for your business to get started and get paying clients? No, but I highly encourage it just for the momentum and moving forward towards that goal.
Yeah, 100%. So I did drop a link for you, Angie, in the comments about choosing a name. And one thing that you're going to find really consistent in this blog that I dropped in the comments is that don't make it harder than it needs to be. Literally, and because whatever you choose isn't permanent. So literally, I was able to make $10,000 months, replace my income, replace my husband's income. And do you know what the name of my business was? Ashley Assistance. Like, that was it. Like, it was nothing fancy or cute or awesome. Like, and so what I tell people is that, like, go ahead and choose your business name. You don't have to spend the money to trademark it. Now, you do need to research and make sure that somebody else hasn't trademarked it. That is important. That's one of the things that we talk about in this article. We talk about in the Savvy system. There are some things that you need to do to make sure, you know, that nobody else has taken your name, but you don't have to go about like spending a ton of money on a trademark or this or that right away, right? And what I always tell people is that the first time you order business cards, like if you want to order physical business cards to go to networking event, like, you know, if you order them at Vistaprint, that's like, add on an extra 500, add on an extra 1,000. Don't, like, order like 100 business cards, right? And then like, if you like, oh crud, I need to change my name. Like, it's really not that hard to just change your business name. If you think you wake up in the middle of the night, that's actually happened with the Virtual Savvy. I was, I like wanted to start blogging and I want to start doing some courses and stuff. And then I went to bed one night and I woke up in the middle of the night, the Virtual Savvy, like the name just popped in my head. I wrote it down on a notebook, went back to sleep. Like, it's just sometimes like,
I didn't know that story.
yeah, you can just search and search. And I wasn't even training virtual assistants either, like, which was really cool. Like, I was just gonna, I don't know. I was like going to write about branding and blogging and like stuff like that. And so sometimes it'll just come to you randomly. And so like just what we always tell people is just choose a deadline. Like if it is that time where you're like, okay, I'm getting ready to launch my business, I should probably have a business name. Like just give yourself a deadline. Say, okay, by this Friday at noon, I'm going to tell somebody to hold me accountable. Whatever the best name I've come up with, I'm just going to go with that. Right. And like, because it's okay, because you can change it, like we're not starting like a restaurant where we're getting like menus printed and a big sign that costs $5,000, like all this stuff. Like if you change your business name, you need to change your Facebook page and like maybe order new business cards. Like it's just not that difficult with a virtual assistant business. Okay. So that's my
great question. Love it.
Do we need to start with a website? What do you recommend? So I think Rachel and I are both in the same camp on this. No, we actually teach not to start with a website, because a website is one of those things that one of our core values here at the Virtual Savvy is action over perfection. And we have found that when people think in their head, I have to have a website before I start getting clients, that it actually becomes something that deters them from ever getting started. Like we want to get that marketing ball rolling as soon as possible. So if you have a domain, you want to throw up like a coming soon page, that's fine. Or like a contact me form, that's okay. But like to spend all the extra time and money and energy to build a website usually ends up just pushing your business, the marketing of your business, down 2 or 3 months. And we don't want that. We want you getting clients right away. And so we teach you strategies on how to get clients without a website, right? We've had most of our students literally sell out their services without ever designing a website, which is so awesome. Then you can use the money, that you're making to pay someone else to do your website. Now, if you're one of those people that's like, oh, I actually love designing websites, I could design a website in a day, bam, do it, please. Like, go for it. We're not saying that you can't do it, but for the majority of us, it's going to be more of a distraction than something that's going to help you in the beginning. Because the most important thing, what is the best way? Like, how are you getting clients, Rachel? If it's not through a website, it's through referrals, conversations.
Yes.
People, like connecting with people, right? And so, and that's actually the next question is, what's the best way to find clients? And I think it goes into that. And we're going to teach more strategies in the 3-day challenge. Like we're going to get really practical with it. But like the best way to find clients is connecting with people. So that could be over social media. That could be in Facebook groups. It could be via cold email outreach. It could be going to local networking events. Like, how are you just connecting with people? The number one way to get clients is not to throw a website up, because most people aren't going to find your website. Like they're just not, like you can literally have your domain just redirect to your Facebook page for a while if you wanted to go ahead and print out business cards with your website. Like it's just the people are coming to your website because they made a personal connection with you for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, it's time and time again, so many stories of our students who the way that they get their client is to just talk about it. Like whether it be at the salon and sitting in the chair while your hair is processing and you get clients that way, or telling friends, right? Or family members. Not that you're selling to them, not by any means, but you're just talking about what you're doing. And we get into this a little bit in the challenge, but everybody knows a business owner, right? You just have to be willing to talk about it. And being willing takes practice. It's a little scary. We talked about that today, but practicing the scary makes it easier every single time. The best way to get clients is to just talk about it and have those connections and build those relationships.
Yep, 100%. Erica asked the question, for Savvy Vault, getting unlimited access, it's offered twice a year, I believe, but we place our name on the wait list. Do we get an email when it's available for purchase? So I will tell you this, Erica, I'm not sure if you're a Savvy Systems student. I'm not sure if you recognize your name, Erica. I don't think so. I will say there is an opportunity to get access both to Savvy System and Savvy Vault starting next week. So next Friday, the doors to our signature program open. We only offer it twice a year, and there is an opportunity for you to get lifetime access both to Savvy System and Savvy Vault. So that wait list is savvysystem.com. You can go there, and yes, you will get lots of emails about it, to the point where we say at the bottom of our emails, you can opt out of the emails, because we send you a lot of emails while it's open, because we only open it twice a year, right? And so we really want for anybody who has been waiting to get into the course to make sure that they get the message, hey, it's available. And then you can also reach out to our team if you need to, like, reach out to us specifically. If maybe you are already a Savvy System student, or you're already a Savvy Vault student, and you're wanting to know if there's a way to like back end upgrade to a lifetime access, we can probably work with you individually to see if that's a possibility. So just email our team if that's the case. I know everybody is a case by case different scenario. So wanted to throw that out there. Okay. Am I the only guy here, Jovi? And I will say this, like, while our program does have more women in it than men, we have some awesome men who have joined the Savvy System, who have joined our programs, and who are killing it in their virtual assistant businesses. So we are very happy that you're here.
Yes. I think we're actually bringing one of the guys that is inside the Savvy System on for a live at the end of the month. And he's killing it inside of his business. So super stoked.
Yeah, so good, so good. Portfolio or calendar link in your Instagram bio. Ooh, I don't know. So we've been I would probably do a portfolio, and then your portfolio would link both, or you could do like Linktree and do both. That might be a good option as well, is to like link to your Facebook page, your portfolio, and a Calendly link all in a Linktree. I think is probably what I would do. Good question.
Great question. And I like your answer. Good answer.
Thank you. Let's see. Julie said, how do you explain what a VA is and what they do? Do you want to answer that one, Rachel?
Oh man, it's a loaded question, but I even myself, I'm trying to overthink it, right? A virtual assistant, okay, can assist you inside of your business in a virtual capacity. Don't necessarily think of does this, or this. That gets us trapped in a box, and we don't want to do that. It's more of the concept of what we do, right? We assist business owners. It could be in person or brick and mortar, what I mean by that, or it could be an online based business, any of the above. And we help them in a virtual sense, meaning I don't have to be in an office. I don't have to be in the same four walls. I may potentially be, but I don't have to be.
100%. I love that. I'd love for anybody who's a current VA, how do you explain to other people what you do? Like, I'd love to hear from you guys on this one. Post in the comments, like, how do you explain when people say, oh, you're a virtual assistant? What's a virtual assistant? How do you respond? I'd love to hear that.
Yeah, I would love to too. And that was kind of basically a variation of what I would say. Like I would say, oh, what's a VA or what's a virtual assistant? Well, I assist online business owners. For me, I was not working with brick and mortar. So I assist online businesses with all of their admin needs. And that was it. Don't make it complicated.
This is a technical question. Amy said, if I don't have a website and I create a profile, and I'm thinking you're saying like a PDF, could it be connected to a domain to list on contact information? I want an easy one pager. I think I'd like to purchase a domain name. So yes, Amy, that's totally possible. When you buy a domain, you can tell it to point anywhere you want it to point. And so, and if you're confused about how to do that, there's usually tutorials on that. Like, so I buy all of my domains from Namecheap. Some people buy them from GoDaddy or different other, there's other places. Namecheap, I've always had a really good experience with, and they have good customer service too. So I literally they have tons of help articles of like how to point my domain to a certain location. But you can chat with them too to like get help if you need it. I think I've even called them before, if I'm recalling correctly. And then so all you would need to do is post it. You would have to redirect that website to go to whatever link you want it to go to. And the link you want it to go to is whatever the link is to the PDF. So if you upload that to Google Drive and you make it a public file, or if you upload it to Dropbox and you make it a public file, like you can make it to where that will point to your PDF, or you can make it to where your domain name points to, like I said, your Facebook page, which I always think is a really good idea too, because your Facebook page, you can post your profile, you can ask friends to come and like put, reviews for you. You can list your services. You can have all your social media on there. So I think a Facebook page is a really good replacement for a website in the very beginning because it's just pretty easy. Like most people, in fact, we have a tutorial in the Savvy system that's like, hey, how to set up your Facebook page really, really quickly. Most people can set up a Facebook page in like an hour or two. And so having it redirect there, I think is usually one of the best options. And then it's really easy to get that link. It's literally just like for me, it's facebook.com/thevirtualsavvy. And I literally would just have a domain point to that. That's what I do with YouTube right now. Like if you go to thevirtualsavvy.com/YouTube, it's literally just like a domain pointing to a certain location, if that makes sense. Yeah. Technical question, but yeah, it's totally possible. Oh my goodness. How do you market yourself when you're starting out and people think you're an MLM? LOL. Oh, that's so funny, Kaylee. Yeah, I mean, like Rachel said, it's relationships, it's conversations. It's just, and it's a cool thing about virtual assistants too, is that you don't have to like get hundreds of people to understand even what you're doing. Most virtual assistants can sell out their services, replace their income with 4 to 7 clients. So you literally, you don't got to convince the world. You just got to convince 4 people to be like, oh, I get it. And I want that, like, can you get 4 people to do that? That is what most people can do to replace their income. Anything else, Rachel, that I forgot on that?
Yeah, I was thinking too, like, why is that somebody's first reaction? Because there's such negativity towards MLMs and how they present yourself. So what's the best way to combat that is not to be them. Why? Because that's not what we do, right? We provide a service and we help and support online business owners. Are we an entrepreneur, just like some of those MLM owners are? Absolutely, right? But ours looks very different and it operates very different, and how we carry ourselves is different as well. So don't be like them, right? Through example, and educate, just let them know, no, I'm not an MLM. This is why, and this is what it looks like.
Yep. 100%. We've got a few more questions. We're running out of time here. I want to try to answer rapid fire. Does the vault talk about how to get a client? No. So we have 2 main programs, you guys. If you haven't heard this before, the Virtual Savvy has the Savvy System, which is the step-by-step program to launch, grow, scale your business from scratch. That's how to get clients. It's how to choose your services. It's how to market, the legalities, the contracts, the freaking everything, right? Business in a box, everything you need to start a business with the skills that you already have. That's what the Savvy System is. And guys, that is what is launching on Friday. So that's the wait list for it. It only opens twice a year. It's a really, really incredible course, and we're very excited for it. So that is Savvy System. Savvy Vault is if you want to niche down, if you want to become a specialist or an expert at something, say, I want to become a social media manager. Awesome. You come into the Vault and we have over 70 tech and industry training. So you can learn Pinterest, you can learn Instagram, you can learn TikTok, you can learn, Calendly, you can learn ConvertKit, you can learn. So it's all these different tech and industry training. So if you want to specialize, niche down, or just improve your skills, that's what Savvy Vault is for. Savvy System is like the business in a box blueprint. Okay. And so Savvy Vault is always available. Like you can always buy Savvy Vault. That is at savvyvault.com. But Savvy System only opens 2 times a year, and that is opening on Friday. Okay. So you can go here to get on the wait list if that's something you're interested in. Okay, let's do one more. Last question. How often would you suggest to post on Facebook? Do you have one for this, or do you want me to answer?
Here's what I'm going to say, and I love to hear Abby's too. Just be consistent. Just show up. Your Facebook, whether it be your personal page or whether it be your business page, isn't going to be the only, or if I can dare say, the best place to find clients. It's your mode of connection, and that's really where it's going to be. So just be consistent in how you're showing up and where you're showing up.
100%. So I call it active or passive marketing. So like passive marketing is like, I'm going to post, let's say you're like, I'm going to post 5 times a week to my Instagram and Facebook. You can connect it where it'll post both at the same time. So you might as well, right? I'm going to do that 5 times a week, and I'm just going to put it out in the world and hope people come to me.
Yeah, don't do that.
It might, maybe. not very likely, especially Facebook. Like people just like Facebook's so pay to play that like I mean, I forget how many followers I have on Facebook. I think I have tens of thousands of followers on Facebook. Sometimes we'll post things and it'll be like 3 people saw this. It's like cool, cool. So like why did we like nobody like Facebook is just very pay to play. Instagram, you can get a little bit more momentum with hashtags, but even still, like it's just not very like people just aren't going to come and find you, right? Like you've got to go and make connections. So like I usually say, especially when you're first starting out, if relationships are the goal, then the goal is okay, I want to post enough on my socials that people know that my business is active. So for
Mhm.
me, I think a good number is once a week. That's and just to do that consistently, which means you could literally go and once a month just schedule. You can use Facebook scheduler. It doesn't even cost money to
Mhm.
go and schedule 4 posts a month. You could do 8 posts a month if you want to post twice a week. That's fine. I'm going to post once or twice a week. Boom, it's done. That's it. Just so people, if they do go to your Facebook or your Instagram, they know that you are an active business. But the reality is the connections you're making is the most important part. The connections, relationships, conversations, going to networking meetings, conversating with people in the DMs. Like that's active marketing. Passive marketing is just throwing out social media and hoping people will come and find you.
Yep. Great.
Awesome.
Love it.
That's it. That's what we have today. Thank you guys so much. Last time, if you haven't already, make sure that you have signed up for the challenge that we have going on. It's going to be just so jam-packed, you guys. Like I cannot tell you. I'm so excited. Rachel and I were creating this content. It's brand new content. Never been released before, the most actionable content I think that we've ever released. So literally you're going to walk away. There's a workbook. Like we are diving into how to actually set up your business in these 3 days. Oh, it's going to be so
So
good.
good. Yeah.
Yay. All right. Thank you guys so much. It's been awesome hanging out with you. And of course, we will be here next Tuesday as well. So we will be going live on Tuesday still at noon Central Time. But then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is the challenge. So just plan on Tuesday through Friday meeting us here at noon. Okay, guys? Thank you so much. We
Bye,
will see you
guys.
next week.
See you
Bye.
later.